We had a visit yesterday from the President of the United States, who spoke directly to the Senate Democratic Caucus and Republican Caucus luncheons, answering questions from the senators. The President came to speak to us about the situation in Syria, about the use of chemical weapons, the deadly impact it's had on innocent people, and the obvious breach of norms of civilized conduct which the world has agreed to for almost 100 years. And the President made it clear that we have a chance now, an opportunity for a diplomatic solution, because of the suggestion of the Russians that the Syrians come forward, surrender their chemical weapons, submit to inspections, and have real enforcement. Nations around the world are working with the United States to craft a resolution for the United Nations to consider. I am hopeful and I pray that they will be successful. If that occurs, the President will have achieved his goal without the use of military force, which is something he made clear to us yesterday that he hopes to pursue. Achieving his goal without the use of military force. Over and over again yesterday he told us, I am not a president who looks forward to the use of military force. I don't want to do it unless I have to. I believe that because I know the man. I've known him for many, many years, and I know what's in his heart. But we have to acknowledge the obvious. Had the President not raised the prospect of military force, this conversation on an international level would never have occurred. It was the President's leadership, even without majority support among the American people, that precipitated this action by President Putin, and I hope will lead to a diplomatic solution. It's where it should be, in the United Nations. And it was only the threat of veto by Russia and China in the Security Council which kept President Obama from turning to the United Nations first. But we have a chance, and I pray that it's successful. We will now move forward with other items on the Senate agenda very quickly, as we should. And still, the possibility that if this diplomatic effort fails, we'll have to return to this critically important debate about the future of Syria. The important thing to recall, though, is even after the chemical weapons are gone, and I pray that that happens with diplomatic efforts soon, there will still be a civil war in that country that has claimed 100,000 lives over the last several years. The sooner that comes to an end, the better. The humanitarian crisis on the ground in Syria is terrible, but the impact on surrounding nations is awful as well. Last year I visited a refugee camp in Turkey where Syrians, fearing for their lives, had moved by the thousands into Turkey. I reflected on the generosity and compassion of the people of Turkey, accepting 10,000 people in one of these refugee camps, providing for them shelter and food and medical care and education for their children. It was an amazing humanitarian gesture on their part. Then you go to the nation of Jordan. Jordan is overrun with refugees from the Middle East and has created serious economic challenges for that country and threats to political stability. The sooner this war ends in Syria, the sooner normalcy comes to the Middle East, the better for Jordan, the better for the entire region. So we pray that that occurs soon. Mr. President, this has been a rough few weeks as we've considered chemical weapons in Syria. As Senator Reid said yesterday, the objects and visions that we saw on this film and video, the victims of these chemical weapons, remind us of how horrible this is when those who turn to weapons of mass destruction are not held accountable. There are more innocent victims. I hope that we can solve this on a diplomatic basis. We will stand down now in terms of any congressional effort until that effort in the United Nations has a chance to reach fruition, and I pray that it will.